Everybody, there's a slight delay. We cannot see what's streaming. It's horrible. We're getting no direction from the people. I'm about to start shooting on my production staff. Why are you looking at me crazy, man?
You put us here, man.
I did put us here.
You put us here.
I did. I just need to know what's going on. See, we're live now.
There we go.
We're live. Okay, well, we're here. From what we understand, the intro is over. All you folks at home, you've seen it. You know we're here. We're back live. It is the Shootin Range, Jermaine Johnson. Oh, man. You gonna bring that back?
Oh, man.
Really?
We're bringing the Shootin Range back, right? Yeah, we're bringing that back, man. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, November 4th, 2013. We are here. We are live. It's the Shootin Range. Okay, so I'll quit saying that. What do we have on deck? What do we have in store for the people? And I promise you, things will get better every week.
Ah, man, it's plain as, you got to think about it like this. We're already in November. 2013 is almost in the books.
Bam, done.
Man, and 2013 has been huge. Every year is huge. Every year gets bigger. It's no exception in 2013. Yeah. So that means when it comes to Johnny Z,
bam,
and Jermaine Johnson, plenty of things been going down in 2013. We just kick it off whenever, man. Start at any point and start rocking because it's good business.
Okay, so you basically, with all that being said, that was just a bunch of, I don't know what we're gonna talk about on the first Shootin Range. So I'm gonna cut a promo and I'm just gonna be like, here you go, boss, back on you. Is that what just happened?
Good promo though, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an awesome promo.
Good promo,
man. The way
man.
you said it, we have done unimaginable things in 2013.
Oh man, just start laying them out.
Epic.
I don't know a word bigger than epic.
So what have we done?
Man, in 2013, we put together the strongest unit in the history of professional wrestling. We call that Impact Elite.
And Impact Inc. It has two names.
It does have two names.
So basically, this is kind of, this is a work shoot, but it's like a shoot. You're just basically, because since we're shooting, we're not just talking about on show. You're saying you think it might be the strongest group of performers put together at one time.
Oh man.
For this little period.
I would say
people should be watching, learning. Is that what you're saying?
Man. Oh man. At what point are we just comparing it to?
Man, I don't know. I've been around here for about 12 years. You've been around here for about, I don't know, 6 years. We've seen a lot of different periods. Are we comparing it only to previous iterations of ourselves? Are we comparing it to other groups here before us, throughout the state, throughout the region? I mean, what are we talking about here? So today's Shootin Range is about groups and the effect they had on the business during their period, the dynamic that they created by existing at the period in which they existed.
How they helped their company.
How they helped their company.
The fan
talent.
base, the talent, themselves.
Okay.
How'd it go down? You've been here, what'd you say? You got a decade in. You've seen a lot, multiple feds.
12 years.
12, over a decade.
10 promoting.
10, just promoting 10, got 12 wrestling. You've seen a lot. You've seen a lot of groups then. Name the first one that had an impact on you.
Honestly?
Yeah.
I get, it's funny because I was in a group almost from the beginning. Chief Executive Order is what it was called, CEO, with Brandon Bishop. And my brother, and I want to say Ty Magnus at the time. We had a group. It was Brandon's idea. It was his company. And so you think, well, man, that had an effect on you first, but it really didn't. Probably the first group that had an effect on me was OXW. I guess if you wanted to consider them a group, and that's just because the people associated
What is
with
that?
it.
What's OXW?
I think that's what Brandon called it. It was when he had an invasion angle at the time. It was Oklahoma Extreme Wrestling, I believe, invading his company at the time, which was Asylum Championship Wrestling. I'm looking for comments, by the way, for anyone that's wondering what I'm doing. If you want to comment, we can see him right here live. We will respond to said comment. Do not hesitate. Bring it! But back to the story. I was on chief executive order, right? CEO, Brandon's idea.
No, you were OXW.
OXW, we got that. Hey, Wesley,
Wesley.
man, can I get that energy drink and that water from the other room, man? I totally forgot it, and I'm getting, I don't know what's the word when you're parched. I'm getting parched. Parched. Okay, so OXW and the cast of characters that this brought with it is why it affected me, I guess you'd say, is because not necessarily on show, or in ring, as much as it affected me behind the scenes and in the locker room. Because these guys were Angel Williams and, Chris Matthews and Jeff Tiger and John O'Malley were already there. So I was already dealing with them, but they ended up going and becoming a part of that group. They were a part of ACW, so it's really probably more Angel and Rob being in there, Chris. There was another guy, Peyton Scott, but he didn't have much effect, really. He's just a guy. But Angel Williams and Chris Matthews, they would have an effect on me during that period. They taught me how to be a dick. Yes. Rob Faust, James Palmer, you taught me how to be a dick. Taught me to be mean. So, just so you know, it's your fault.
Were they the heel group? Did that make you the baby faces?
They were the heel group. We were the baby face. Man, and we weren't really baby faces. It was for thank you, Wesley. It was for, I don't know, maybe a few weeks. That was it. It was just the sheer, and that's why I said in ring there wasn't really a lot that they affected at that time, and they weren't interested so much in affecting that. I don't think. I think their interest at that point was let's figure out if these dudes belong here, because it was myself and some other guys, and that's a whole nother story we can get into in another shooting range. Things that people don't know, but they came down and they had this attitude that, we're going to find out if you guys belong. We're going to bring it to you. And Chris and James, or Rob and James, were two of them that did the best at that, really. So move past that. They taught me a couple lessons there. And then you come back. At that point, I was supposed to meet Bad Brad Michaels. He was supposed to have become a part of ACW at that time, and that would have probably affected me outside the ring as well. So that was the first group to affect me, was that OXW, which only lasted a few months, but that was my introduction to those two guys. That's what would set me on a 12-year relationship with both of them, really. Then I guess, honest to God, the second group to affect me would be Impact Inc., as crazy as that's going to sound to people, because it was created in 2004, which was going on 10 years ago. And, Aaron's in that, Aaron Nell, Bernie D, Gary Toole at times, Brandon Bishop, just all the groups of guys that were around me throughout the iterations of Impact Inc. have constantly affected my wrestling life.
Okay, so we're in 2004. You're talking about Impact Inc. That's the group that.
Well, hold on, man. What groups have affected you?
Me? Just getting in the scene in 2007 and training. There was only one group around. It was that Impact Inc. was all I've seen in person.
Okay.
So I start hearing legend of. OSA.
Old School Assassins.
Yeah, start hearing legend of that.
Yeah.
Heard legends of some other, groups in Tulsa. Other than that, nothing real major. OSA is the only thing I've heard of the legend of, and Impact Inc. So those are the only two that I have to compare to. Nemesis comes later and things like that, but I have to take all of my group knowledge from what Impact Inc. did or didn't do in the time frame that I wasn't in it.
Okay.
And man, it seemed like a simple formula. You get a tag team that wants the heavyweight champion to succeed and a manager that wants all of this to succeed, and they come up with ways to fucking make sure that they've got all the belts and they've got all the power. And then the baby faces fight from underneath and try to take pieces of that away until they finally take the Holy Grail, the championship, and rock the foundation of the group.
Bam.
Just seems like a very simple formula, but you don't always see it done like that.
Now that's also not what we're talking about necessarily. I understand you're talking about that's what you feel you've been taught, I guess, as far as groups go, a formula that you think works. Get the group in a position of power, make everything work together, have a brain behind it, and then obviously you have to establish that power for a period of time for it to mean something as the faces start to tear the pieces away, start to, as you say, rock the foundation. And in the end, when they get the Holy Grail, the championship, then it's destroyed. So I get what you're saying there. So you're laying out a formula, but what we were talking about is how have the groups that we've heard about or encountered or been a part of or worked with, how have they affected the talent in the area? What have they done as far as the business in our area goes? Right now we're not talking about anything nationally. We're not throwing out opinions on big time groups from any national promotions or anything. Right now the majority of people that are watching us are probably more from this region. So
people who were part of what?
The Oklahoma wrestling scene?
But what group were they part of that are watching right now?
I don't know, Old School Assassins?
Nah, man, the group that they're part of.
I'm confused. I'm sorry. You're about to see me get shot on.
No, you're not going to see me get shot on. It's just most people who are watching right now found out that we are streaming live through YouTube right now and soon to be available on GFL.tv. And they found out this because you sent out a message to what group?
The Shootin Range. That's what you wanted. Yeah, that's what you wanted. And because of all of that, you've almost completely lost me. So, we were talking about what does it do for the business, correct?
Yes.
That's where we're at, how the groups to help. And because we don't want to lay out opinions, I guess still people are going to say what we're putting out as opinions, so fine, but I'm not going to do it on anything national. I'm going to do it on stuff around here that I've known of, heard of, because we've encountered other people that will say, hey, I learned from this group of people, or I was a part of this group. Aaron, was real big on, I can't even think, Boss Campbell or no, it wasn't him. Was it Cawthorn and Boss?
The Gentleman Thugs?
Yeah, the Gentleman Thugs. Aaron liked them, and he was real big on them. So they obviously had an effect on him.
He puts them over. I've seen Nemesis's work. What I guess,
and that's what we're getting at. We know of several groups. We've been involved with several groups that have affected this area in a certain way, and a lot of this comes up because right now our groups, Impact Elite and Impact Inc., are in positions of power at two shows, Mid-South and IZW. On the shows, holding all of the major titles, and I think that's why he brings up that formula, and that's why this question came up, is because what are you doing as a group in this area or wherever you're at when you have put yourself together a group of talent that the company you're in deems good enough, especially as a whole together, to basically kind of be the
standard bearers?
They had standard bearers or whatever, just the main guys on the show to help build all the faces, because that's really what the group's job is. I think people fail to realize that, or maybe a lot of them don't. Maybe I'm taking some of you or underestimating some of you, but in the end, a group's ultimate goal should be to build a group of faces up, if you will. They're obviously separate, but that's the group's job as a whole. is to help draw money, to help make those fans, just want to see them get tore down, beaten, destroyed by certain faces, and at the same time having an emotional connection with these faces and wanting to build them up. So that's why I say the question for me is, what have groups done? Because how many of the groups have actually taken other talent and put themselves in a position as a whole to then build that talent and make some guys and get them over with the fans in this area, and hopefully in a way get them over with the fans in this area in a way that there is an emotional connection that keeps these fans wanting to come. Like, we have a lot of big shows here. Most of our bigger shows, the Violent Valentines, the Halloween Hangovers, the Redemptions, the Evolutions, the Coronations, they normally sell out, anywhere from 225 to 250, 200, always in that area. So I like to think that we're doing a good job of building emotional connections with our faces and the fans, and getting the people to come out and support them. And so I feel like we can give validation somewhat to some of the arguments we're making. There's going to be people that always disagree with us, and to them I say,
I want to hear the disagreement.
You can bring the disagreement. I'm not trying to be, hey, look at this, we got comments.
Yep, we sure do. Brandon Bishop.
Oh, Brandon Bishop. I am sorry. I didn't even see. So it comes up right there. Bam, this is working now. So we got, he puts over the group with myself and Brandon and Aaron. I'm going to guess as the AC. Okay, he's talking about a few years back. And I'm, Brandon, you can comment and let us know. Are you talking about the CEO group at ACW at that time, or the Impact Inc. group here? Or he could be talking about both, because it went to both places as well.
Well, I want to know.
Yeah, let me know what you're talking about, but we'll continue. I just want people to understand that that's what this is about. We're not going to be out here trying to degrade or tear anyone down. If we have some strong feelings about something or someone, and we really want to, get on it and maybe try to prove a point, we'll do that, and we'll bear the consequences of that, the backlash. But right now, our main goal is to legitimately discuss some of these groups in the area and what they've done. It's like the old school Assassins. Those guys are some close friends of mine, but let's shoot a little bit here. I don't know how many guys they ever made or tried to help make, as far as during their time. I don't know how many people they affected in the time that they were around, because I don't feel a lot of that now. When I go around, I hear about some different things, but I don't hear a lot about who they might have affected. Outside the ring, Bad Brad affected a lot of people.
Yes,
he shared a lot of advice, changed a lot of guys' thinking.
I want you to
career
explain
paths in the back.
I want you to explain, when you mentioned the OSA, like what members are you talking about? What group of guys? Let's put them over in that respect. This is a group of talent. Let's put the names of what individuals we're talking about. Because I've lost wrestling trivia to Bad Brad Michaels over not knowing all the members of the OSA. And when he lists
I don't know them all
13.
either. Yeah, there's a lot of guys who are in it, and that's kind of my problem. He can list off 13 guys, but he's one of the only ones that knows that, or those 13 guys that are in it, because I don't know how many guys as far as in the ring and like we said, building a face or a heel, whoever it mainly faces, but getting them over and making them a known factor in their area.
Okay.
Bad Brad's a known factor. Everyone around the area knows him, but he's a member of the OSA. It's something he created. It's, who has he helped become a known factor? Who all did he influence in the ring at that time? I think he influences a lot of people. Now, the Hall of Famers are a group that maybe we joke a lot about the demise of them and how it always went. It seemed like it'd get going and blah. Someone would be like, bam, they took it to the shooting range. But, but they actually affected some guys in ring. Man, I remember when John O'Malley got Kevin Morgan over big as hell.
Oh, yeah.
As ICW champion.
Very true.
And that's the Hall of Famers group. That's John O'Malley and Brad Michaels
Shane
Rawls at that time, all as a group working together to build Kevin Morgan. And I mean, it was a nice little chase. And I remember when Kevin finally went over out here, was it Falls Count Anywhere?
Oh, yeah, it was
or something like that.
Big
It was
no
ridiculous.
DQ matchup.
And man, the people go crazy. And I mean, it's just an insane moment. And they were, they were even talking to him behind the scenes. So I'm just saying, even less amount of people, and we joke about the Hall of Famers sometimes, even Bad Brad does, I think. And, it's still, if you had to get into it, the Hall of Famers were probably more important to a couple people's careers and such than the OSA was, in that way. He's probably done more under that. And now as the Hall of Famer, he's working with Randy Price, that little thing's going on. Got the feud starting with D. So, I mean, and it's not as much a group thing now, I guess. He doesn't have anyone with him. He did. But either way, that's kind of some of the stuff we're talking about. Yeah. The Hall of Famers did affect some different people.
Who had, like, every member had a belt at one point. They were rocking.
Guy here put over the OKB. There's another question. Are we going to look, the OKB's more of a, that's mainly only a locker room thing. Are we going to discuss both? Did you have to have an effect in ring as well as in the locker room to be in this discussion?
Crowds don't know about the OKBs.
Yeah, but did they affect people's careers? Did they change people's career paths? Did they change people's thinking?
I guess, and we underestimate the crowd too. I mean, we know the clique.
Like, what are we?
That's
aren't we like
backstage
just the
group.
IZW clique? Isn't that kind of
The
like
IZW
when me,
boys.
you, and Jordan go somewhere? It's the IZW boys. If Randy's somewhere and they're talking to him, kind of the same scenario. So I mean, I guess that's.
I'm happy we're the IZW boys because we was, hey, you're Johnny's guys at first, and I was like, man. But
Well, no, and I mean, I'm just saying. I guess that same scenario because the OKB did affect a lot of people. You'll hear stories about that. All those guys, because man, that's James and Rob fall in that group, and Brad.
I'd have to honestly
Gary
say they positively affected me.
Oh yeah, they positively affected me. So hey, and now I guess I'm hoping that if we want to get on that discussion, I hope that down the road, even now, I hope there's people that we affect. By being in a locker room with them and in a positive way. I'm sure we've affected some people.
But they have too.
Yeah.
But they have
too. So, I mean,
So we consider that group a good model because we do follow the values that they had.
What's that, the Hall of Fame?
No, the OKBs.
The OKBs. Yes. As far as in the locker room and how we approach the business, yes, I would say that. I will give you thanks, OKBs, because it is the majority of the guys that are part of that group that basically created me, if you will, behind the scenes. It's over my years, it's basically my time being in the business and promoting the wrestling at the same time and watching everyone come and go through the company. That's where I've learned my booking model and how I like to push guys and do such. But my behind the scenes model and how I deal with the different people that come through the locker room and such, and rookies that come in, that's probably more because of the guys in the OKB. So that's about the sappiest that'll get. And so other than that, now let's go to some on-show stuff, because this is where I'll shoot a little bit just to catch a little heat. But
you've already shot. You straight up said on here you feel the future Hall of Famers did more than the old school assassins.
Yes. Well, here's my other shot. I feel that Impact Inc. / Elite, if you will, is maybe the best group of all time in this Oklahoma area. Okay. As far as sustained, continuing performance power over the years, maintaining a group that on whatever show we've been a part of, we've been able to be put in positions of power and do, as far as on show, and as far as chasing titles or having titles or being in blood feuds with people and doing good business with anyone we were with, and always in the end building that person and putting them over. There's never a time that you can say Impact Inc. is a group or the whoever was kind of the lead dog of Impact Inc. at that time. Whatever is needed to be done Impact Inc. has always done to put our the faces that we were across from over and build whatever show we were on as much as possible and make it better. And I think any show that we've ever been a part of, there's always been an improvement, not only on the show, but in the crowd.
Now, we are aware of who our audience is, and if you do disagree with that, feel free to shoot. And feel free to come with the facts. I've been getting in trouble a lot for saying this on posts all over the place, but when you have a statement or an argument that you want to present, the easiest way to do it is to just upload a video and show us this moment, because we will watch it. I take
That's the thing. Yeah, we have video evidence. Like when I want to say, hey, I think Impact Inc. has done this, or hey, I think Double D has done this. When we get into discussions over the weeks, we do have the ability. This screen, this little shooting range behind us is not real. There's a green screen there, and Wesley Bradfield has put that there. So, should we need to display video evidence, which I believe we'll probably do at times now that I mention it, we will display video evidence to, back most of the claims we make. Because I can go on YouTube and get video. Don't go start to, pulling that stuff down because you don't want us to have it. We've got our video out there. You leave your video out there. We can easily grab it. Because we're coming to you live from YouTube.com. This is the Shootin Range. And if you want us to look at it, we will put Brandon, I'm sorry. I did choose Bernie over you in the first Impact Inc.
He was pissed.
Yeah, he was pissed. But seriously, we'll put video up. We'll back our claims. And if you want to claim something, put it on YouTube. We'll grab it. We'll download it. We'll put it up. We'll show the world. Everybody can watch it. This is 100% public.
Oh, man, I'm scared of that. But it is. It's public. Everyone's watching this right now, which I hope they're
That's
enjoying.
what I'm saying. I wish some of you that are watching would send some questions or comments. That would help lead our discussion. We're ad-libbing this thing. We don't have any paper here. We don't have notes to go by. We will next time.
Yeah, we probably should have.
Yes, it might have helped.
But, man, we're still on groups.
Yeah, help me lead this discussion.
That's the discussion. And
I know I've already kind of said what I said.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could sit here and just validate the things we've done. I mean, I've done good business with D. I'm doing good business with Damon right now. You've done good business with Aaron. I've done good business with Aaron. The groups helped build Bobby up at times, Kevin up at times. You built the Sanders up at Mid-South, Drake Gallows is working with the group up there right now and getting better in ring. Because anybody we work with in ring, we're always trying to help in ring, with everything, not just wrestling. Because I thought this show tonight was going to be about the definition of a worker, because lately there's been a lot of those discussions going on in the locker room, about guys calling themselves workers. Someone had a quote the other day, once a worker, always a worker. I spit milk all over the place, I'm telling you. There are certain guys that are using the word worker.
Hold on.
Should not be using the word worker.
Man.
And I'm just saying, we've gotten into this group thing. I don't know where else we're going to go with it necessarily. I mean, like I said, we're working, we're making guys, we're helping guys, we're trying to teach them about everything, character, vignettes, promos.
Mikey's got something about a group.
Oh, here we go. Somebody's talking about. So Bad Brass said he will contend OSA did make some guys. Dynamite Extreme, Angel Williams, Irish Drinking Team. Okay. So explain this to me, Bad Brad. The only guy I know about on there, first off, is Angel Williams. And I did not understand that he was made by the OSA necessarily. The Irish Drinking Team, if I remember, that's Chris and John, Rob and John. And I mean, I don't know them as that name, but I get it. Did you make them, or do you feel like you helped them in the ring? That's what we're saying. And another guy here said, what about Blackout?
What about
Blackout? That's what I'm saying.
What about Blackout?
Impact Inc. helped make Blackout.
They did.
Helped make you put over that it's maybe still to this day the best feud you've ever been a part of.
I would say that.
It helped make Jermaine and Montego as far as IZW went. We were new back to Lawton in a sense. We came back here. It was 2008. Jermaine wasn't even known to this. Some of us had the benefit of coming back to Lawton after being here a year previous and for a couple years, and them knowing some of us. They didn't know him. They didn't know Montego. So it was our job to help make these guys, and we did. We had 2 sellout blow-off matches. Chaotic Christmas, we have a sellout for TLC 1. Evolution of '09, we have a sellout for TLC 2. And I mean, it's off and running. That was the kickoff to my singles part of what you want to call a career, wrestling. Since then, in 2009, I've been a singles guy now for the past 5 years. You went off in a different path. That was really kind of the start to you going singles. It was within 8 months or so that you were a singles guy. And only recently have you come back to the tag side. But
Scotty, I will say I don't consider Blackout a group.
They're a tag team.
We're a tag
group
team.
is 3, 4, 5 people. But all I was saying, this is what I'll say to Brad. I don't think he's commented again, and that's what I'm saying. That's why we want some of you guys to comment to help us with definition, because that's what we're trying to figure out. I guess there's different levels of what groups have done. As a group of people, like I said, you can change a lot in the locker room. You can change a lot of people's thinking there. Then on a show, you can not necessarily make guys, but teach them to be better in the ring. And they never necessarily get made, but you've helped them get better in the ring. And then there is just the ultimate of a group to go and make 2 or 3 guys. I mean, actually make them. Like take a guy that the crowd didn't know, that the region didn't know, and by the time you're done with him, he's actually kind of known, at least especially in your town. Like, did you take Angel Williams and make him to a sense that you were the reason people knew who Angel Williams was, and you built him up and gave him this big platform to succeed on and build his emotional connection with the crowd? Because if you did, bravo.
Oh yeah, I'll put you over tough.
And I just didn't know about it. And that's what I'm saying. Those are some of the things. What's that lasting impression as well? How does it live on through time? We're trying to approach all that. That's what the group discussion was about. And that's why I say it's hard for me to get into. I wish we had some more interactivity here. In the future, we do plan on getting this set up through our Blog Talk radio show that we're in the process of building right now, to where we'll be able to take in live callers and talk with you over the air. So this will be a little bit different. We don't have to go back and forth
Gonna get better.
And try to work through the comments. We will continue to make this show better. The group discussion's hard to have because, like I said, Brad, no matter what, I give credit for making some guys and helping guys in the locker room. Rob, James, I give them that credit. But then it almost does what you said. It takes it away from the OSA and makes it an OKB thing.
Yeah.
Because they, no matter what they did on the shows, they were always OKB in the locker room together. And thank you, Scotty, very much for helping move the convo along. We want guys to do that. That's the only thing that's going to help this thing grow.
If you got a question, man, just put it up
bust
there.
a question.
We'll answer.
But that's all I was saying. So Brad, Rob, James, those guys, they end up in whatever locker room they went into. They affected it. And I don't know if they realized that then. I think later on now they realize how much they were affecting locker rooms. And I hope they realize that's a good thing. That's a special thing. Not everybody that's a part of a locker room can affect it in a positive way.
Yeah.
And you did, so that's a good thing. And that's what I'm saying. It really kind of ends with that. We know what groups, because of what we've heard and this and that affected locker rooms positively. We feel we did. We feel those guys did as far as the OKB guys. I know 2 or 3 guys that I've been told repeatedly have affected the Tulsa area positively. But I don't get to know enough about those guys up there. I honestly don't, to be able to make comments on a lot of it. I catch a lot of heat for that anyways, but I don't. I couldn't tell you who is positively affected there. I know at one point Rocco positively affected it, no matter what they want to say. He made the product there better.
I still hear.
Yeah, he made the guys there better, the product there better. He made people he motivated people to be better. They may not have liked him. And isn't that so odd, Rocco? People don't like me, but I think that I've positively affected this area and the people around me. A lot of people don't like you and didn't like you, but I know and you know that you positively affected the people around you and the area around you. You know, the group of guys that were around him. Rocco had his own little group of guys. And you hear names like Brent Albright and Brandon Groom. Justin Lee. These guys on around that are considered the top tier talent of that area.
They are.
And they affected, and those are the guys you hear that affected that area positively. So here it is. That's kind of the group discussion. I keep wanting to slide back over to this definition of a worker thing.
Dude, go ahead.
I guess that's good. Come on, man. Anybody who's watching, please, I'm going to let him kind of lead us, segue over into the worker thing somehow, because he knows what's up and he can talk, and I haven't let him talk enough. But I want to give Scotty or Brandon or Brad or any of the what is this now? We had 172 people watching. That is awesome. Any one of them, man. I'm telling you, it changes. It goes up and down. But as you're there, man, tell us. Wow, we cannot repeat what Brandon thinks Rocco is.
Yes, we can.
No, we can't. This is public.
Oh, how PG are we?
Man, that's...
I want to get up off this seat.
Really? Brandon Bishop thinks that Rocco is a douche taco. What? It's wrong.
Man, I want douche tacos just floating around this mug.
You just killed 5 watchers. 5 viewers. They're gone. Man.
It's because we killed Mexican
down to
food.
167.
Just because we insulted Mexican food.
I don't think it's because you insulted Mexican
La
food.
cucaracha. Anyway.
Definition of a worker, because we've gone through the group thing. We've actually complimented the Tulsa area, which, you know, I'm sure they didn't think we would.
Yeah.
Don't have a problem with the area at all. Have a problem with some of the idiots in it.
Some of the idiots who don't know the definition of worker. Yeah, that's what we have a problem with. Some of these guys who just kind of show up here just to have matches, just to be a star in their little setting, and not try to learn the craft as it's meant to be learnt so you can teach it and better the entire company, the entire business. That's what we have a problem with, and we don't care what direction that comes from. Whether you're in Texas or whether you're in North Oklahoma or the east or the west of it or in a bigger fed, if you're not in there trying to do good business, if you're not in there trying to work your character to the maximum to entertain the people that should be paying to see you, then you are not a worker. And I will give it over to my man Johnny Z, because he's been wanting to touch all over this topic, and I'm ready to let him, because this is the format to do it right here. This is the platform to release this rage that is built up inside of us, because we have a passion for this here business. We have what a famous philosopher by the name of Roddy Piper would call the itch. And if you don't have that, you not a worker. Tell them about it, Johnny.
Man. Scotty has stated that he believes a worker is someone who actually studies the craft of the art that is pro wrestling. I will agree with that statement, Scotty. It is an art.
Yes.
And you do have to study it. Being a worker involves so many things besides just technical ability in the ring. I think we all understand that. And Bad Brad just pointed out the issue is everyone thinks worker and wrestler are interchangeable. They are not. I 100% agree with that statement. I also think that a lot of people think that just because they're involved with the business for a period of time, that somehow makes them a worker. I don't think everyone understands what it is that you have to have done for the business and what you have to be doing for the business to be labeled a worker.
I apologize. You're right.
Bad Brad just said it's not the itch, it's the sickness. And that's it. And you see, I see a lot of these guys that, as he said, they show up, and as long as everything's easy, as long as everyone's blowing smoke up their ass, as long as everyone's pretending that the 42 people that they draw every time they're on a show, maybe every 6 weeks, is a good thing, they're pretending that all of that makes them a worker, because they get to show up when the going's easy, and they get to go out there and pretend to be great superstars for the people that are out there, half of them being their family and friends. And then they get to go out and eat with them afterwards, and everyone talk about how great it was, when really it was complete and utter crap. And I mean, it's out there on video. You know what I mean? It is on YouTube. I can go and pull it up. I'm not even going to point out any names specifically. I'm not going to point out any companies. I'm simply going to say, let's quit lying to ourselves. Let's look in a mirror. Because, Brandon said it. Wrestling lasts 10 to 15 minutes. A good worker is 24/7. And I can even agree with that. But just what I'm saying is, none of us are going to sit here and lie and say that we're just going to consistently draw thousands of people. There are going to be a few of us. There are going to be a few of us that maybe are seen by the people upstairs, the higher ups, and say, man, he's good enough to come up here and help us make money. Only a few, only the elite. I understand that. But then even on this level, then you have what could be considered the top or the elite of the independent level. And the question is, can those guys, as Brad Bear Michaels, do they have the sickness? Do they have to do this? Do they need to do this? Do they need to sell out 250 and 300 seat houses so they can prove they're a worker? Because let me tell you something right here on this independent level where we sit right now. If I can promote you as a wrestler on this level, as a performer, as an entertainer, on my commercials or my posters or my radio ads or anything I might do, my Facebook, my Twitter, if I can promote you, Jermaine Johnson, or Double D, or Bad Brad Michaels, or Aaron Neal, or myself, any of the guys that I have promoted to draw crowds into my arena, because people don't want to accept this. All of you sitting out there and watching it, accept it. Because numbers never lie. It's the argument I've been having with people in my locker room for the last 6 months. IZW runs every week with the same talent now pretty much for the last 5 years. The core group of it, okay? With an arena, with promotion, but only with them. They are the faces put on the commercials. They are the faces put on the posters. They are the names put in radio ads. No names, no one else. Those guys that have been here for the last 5 years. And they draw more every week than any show in this state draws whenever it runs every 4 to 6 weeks. And then 9 times a year, they can put over 200 people out there in that arena. So they draw numbers on this level. They have put 300 people in that arena, 275. Just Saturday night, we had 250. So these guys on this show right now draw. Whether anyone out there wants to admit it or not. I just watched a show on YouTube in this state the other night that was in a huge gymnasium that was 3/4 empty, that had been promoted, had those local wrestlers' faces put on it, and it was lucky if it had 100 people there. And it was built, it was pushed. Those guys didn't draw for that company. That promoter didn't promote for those guys. These guys here, him, the guys we talked about, Bad Brad, Randy Price, Aaron Neal, Double D, those people, they have drawn.
What's happening here?
They have drawn. We just had a guy tell us here, and that's 250 Saturday night. Those are numbers. Just at Redemption a few weeks ago, we had over 200. In between that, we were drawing 100 or more every week. Had one bad week in there, I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, man,
it was horrible. It was less than 100, so don't let me lie and say every week. We're shooting.
Read this cat's stuff here.
This guy here put TCTF Champ. I've been to quite a few shows in Tulsa. We'll just call you Champ. I've been to quite a few shows in Tulsa, and I've seen plenty of times where workers, he put that in quotation marks because I think facetiously he is pointing out that these people call themselves workers that he's watched up in these Tulsa shows. But he says, I've been to quite a few shows in Tulsa, and I've seen plenty of times where workers have shit matches. I'm sorry, that was past the PG line. We might have to talk about that. We'll have crap matches, and the promoter will pat them on the back, telling them they had a great match.
What's your opinion?
What's our opinion? My opinion is, one, that worker shouldn't have had a crap match. And if he did, the promoter should have had the backbone to say, hey, that was crap. That's not what's going to draw. You see, people get mad at Johnny Z. They hate Johnny Z. I'm talking about myself in the third person. That's pretty cool. But they hate me. They get mad at me. They say I tear people down. I chew that ass. I get into them, and I hurt egos, and I bruise pride. It's because I have expectations. It's not just a gimmick. That word on the back of those shirts, Impact Leading Impact Inc., that's legitimately from here. If you work at IZW, there are expectations. And all of you out there that have ran away from them, you can spout whatever you want. If you work at Mid-South anymore, there are expectations. You can tell anybody anything you want about why you're not here. The truth is you're running from expectations. Because I just said it. The guys on this roster are expected to keep a company going. The guys on this roster are expected to be here every week and tell a story. You know, guys get weeks off, but you get my drift. There's a commitment when you come here. There's a commitment to raise expectations, to help keep this company. It's been here, it'll be 10 years in March, and it's gotten better the whole time it's been here because of the guys that have chosen to come here and live up to those expectations. All of you, big thanks to everyone that has ever not been afraid to come here and try to live up to the expectations, because I know I have them for people, and I know sometimes they're unattainable and people are like, man, you're insane. Sorry.
And also to answer Champ's question, the reason that they got
he says our feed's cut.
He sent that a while ago. It's fine.
All right, Wesley's
well,
on point.
you're wrong, Brandon. It's still fine. Well, yeah, we're watching ourselves. I can see myself. We never went out.
Champ, to answer your question, the reason that promoter patted him on the back is because said promoter doesn't know what a good match is himself. Said promoter's not capable of having one. He doesn't know what a good match is, so he can't justify telling anyone they had a bad matchup, because in his eyes, most likely it was a good match. It's the same match he's going to give them in the main event. It's the same matchup.
And it's sad because these guys will claim that they do know what a good match is. They'll sit at home right now and call us idiots and argue with themselves and us at the same time, saying that we don't know what a good match is. And I will contend with them, numbers never lie. We draw. I'm not trying to say we draw thousands. We draw hundreds. We draw 100 or more every week, and then we draw over 200, around 250 every big show. You know, our content sells internationally. People want to watch it. They do pay for it. I know you don't want to believe it, but it does happen. That's part of the revenue that keeps this little train a-moving right here.
Thank you, Brandon Bishop, for contributing as much as you've had. Thank you.
Yes, very much. It is a hard place to work. I understand that. What little kick was I just on, though? Oh, because we do draw. The numbers never lie. Therefore, I know that I can tell guys if they had a good match or not. I know that I can help guys have a good match because they draw. They put people in my seats. Whenever I let these guys go out and have matches, they tell a story that make people want to come back and watch them again. Obviously, if you're up there and you're not drawing good crowds with the talent you have, then there's several problems. There's a problem with promoting. There's a problem with the matches. There's a problem with the talent because none of it's drawing. None of it's selling. And if you're coming back from a match and the promoter's telling you it was a great match when you know it was crap, and then there's still only 37 people the next time you do a show, then you should know the promoter doesn't know what he's talking about. Because if it was a good match, people would be there for the next show more than the 37 at the previous show. You just gonna stop talking, man?
Ah, man, I thought we were reading. We got a lot of stuff going on here. This is the first show. This is big deal. Hey, man, Wesley, I never got no water. Man. You know, I know he the boss.
You got 11 minutes to drink the water.
All right. I see you, Wesley, and I ain't gonna mess with you because I remember what happened to the last guy that did. That dude ain't here. All right. Anyway, Scotty Mobody, he mentions that wherever he's worked before, he had people let him know he had a bad matchup, and he was cool with that. So, hey, man, that ain't everybody.
Go ahead and keep talking.
That's not everybody at all, because we meet plenty of people and talk to plenty of people who you can't tell them anything negative about themselves, or they won't be there next time. We understand it. We have to book around that all the time. So if you're one of the guys that's willing to take criticism and go out and try to improve with that, then you're an appreciated commodity in this business because they're coming few and far between nowadays. Luckily, we happen to have about 20 to 30 guys that are willing to do so we doing all right. But hey, I'm talking about the entire state as a whole.
We just got in on our own.
Oh, what do we say here? What do we say? Wesley.
David Albert, put over a nice shirt. How you doing,
Whoa,
Dave?
whoa, whoa.
Yeah. By the way, this is DVR'd from what I understand, so people can just go back while it's going on and check anything out that they might have missed if you've come into the discussion late. We've got about 9 minutes left to go here on this deal right now. The goal is about an hour-long show. As we get more interactive, as we're able to get some live calls in, and I think they'll I can't use the one where, is it all right to use that?
Dude, it should be, because we're men. They'll do what?
You said they'll bitch and moan about it too. They'll bitch and moan about what?
They'll bitch and moan about being criticized. They'll bitch and moan, and then we're the bad guys.
He's talking about something you said that I missed because I wasn't listening to.
You just don't listen to it?
It wasn't
the story
that.
of our life. Is that how this is going to be?
No.
I'm just going to speak, and I'm going to go on and do big tyrants and mess up the final punchline and say sick instead of say itch instead of sickness, and now I look like a dumbass to the entire wrestling community. You got me on the spot doing this, and then I'm going to ask you a question about what I said, and you're not even going to listen?
I'm sorry, man. Let's stay on point.
Apology accepted. Big Rob, you right, too. Because we get that all the time, too. We hear about it. Wrestling is like a girl's locker room? The secrets don't stay in one spot very long.
They really don't.
If something's said,
as
everyone knows
Robert
it.
Faust just said, the truth hurts more than just about anything. And I think that's where I've honestly built all this hate for myself and I told Jermaine and I were riding one day and I told him this. I said a lot of people, I think they feel like they'll go around and try to claim that I try to tear people down, or I'm very blunt or abrasive about what I say, or pessimistic at times. And I've always tried to say, I don't believe that. I believe I'm just a realist. I really do. I believe that I try to look at everything I encounter on the realest level possible. That's why when I finally just was like, bam, how are you going to think about wrestling? I don't have the option of thinking about it as a mark anymore. I don't have the option of looking at it from that side. The only option I have is to look at it as a businessman, as a promoter. Making the investment that I did in IZW, the money that was put into the arena, the lights, the cameras, the switchers, the remodel, the expansion to try to sell video internationally. With all of that, there was no going back. There was no more taking it easy, you know. Got this comment going, you did that. What page was I on here? What was I talking about?
Right now you're talking about yourself as a worker?
No. We were talking about the promotion. Man, I'm so off base now. Thank you, Dave. What was I talking about, man?
Well, you can get to Scotty's question here if you want, because I think people did get what you
Yard
meant.
tards are unnecessary. I'm not sure what I was talking about. I was just saying that when I made all the improvements and such, you know, it was really, there was no option but to succeed. There's no option but to keep going forward. And I don't remember where I was going now for sure. Just that we made a really big investment, and that's where a lot of the expectations come from. Is it? Yeah. Yard tards are unnecessary. My thoughts on them. Backyarders trying to open a Fed, idiots. They're not indie guys. It doesn't matter. Here's my deal. Getting out and working places, that's another discussion we'll have. That's 10 years ago, in my opinion. Nowadays, video gets you to the WWE a lot quicker than traveling. You know, they're not out scouring the indies. They're sitting there waiting for you to send them nice video from a nice show against nice talent where they can see you perform. So, yeah, getting out and traveling, that's not even part of my definition of being an indie guy. Being a yard tard or a backyarder just takes you out of the discussion of being an indie guy. Dave, I'm not sure you always love the brutal honesty at IZW or you'd still be working here. Just honest opinion. And is there anybody in the state that I've seen that isn't a part of my roster? That's what I was talking about. I can't look at it like a mark anymore. You are the man, Rob. That's all I was saying. That's all I was getting at, is that my thinking on the business is strictly about money anymore. It's about numbers. And that's the only way I look at it. I get into a lot of arguments with people anymore because they want to talk about who I see as good workers. And the final argument I come down to it was just money. Draw people. That's why you've heard my whole argument here today, that it's about the fact that the guys on my show have put guys in the seats. And, you know, everyone else want to argue, well, no, it's the show and it's how you've built it up and the way you promote it or whatever. Well, of course that's part of it, idiots. I'm a promoter. It's what you do. But I'm not going to take credit away from my guys. You know, I see other promoters out there that aren't doing nothing. They might not be doing the same things I am promoting, but they are promoting. They are getting posters and flyers out with your faces on them. And then the 40 or 50 people that are coming out to watch you work. And guess what? Your crowds aren't getting any bigger. You're not building a better show. So the numbers don't lie. You're not succeeding. You're not working. I have to look at it that way. It's the only way I can look at it. I have to have numbers. With the investment I made, I have to have my guys putting enough people in the seats that my video looks good enough that I can be making enough money in here to pretty much keep things breaking even while I'm making money off revenue overseas to help continue to expand and grow things. So I'm all about numbers. There's no more marking. I guess there's a mark for numbers. I love Vince McMahon. He is, bam, the man. But there are several people I think should just give up and stay home, champ. And if I went into that, I'd probably get sniped from somewhere. But, and is there anybody in the state that's not a part of my roster that could be on my roster? Yeah, there's probably 4 or 5 guys around the state that could be on my roster. But you know what? I'm not going to put their names out here because I've had a guy recently that liked to make, we were having an argument and he thought it was some kind of ammo that he could throw at me that we had called him as opposed to us, him calling us. Let me explain something to you people. Of course we're going to call different talent out there. If there's any possibility that you might be able to be a good worker, numbers. I'm going to want you to be a part of my show. I'm going to call guys and give them the opportunities to come in and try out. That's what a businessman, a promoter does. He goes, it's what the WWE does. They look at video of guys and then they call them in and they take a look at them and they decide if they can make money with those guys. So don't take it as some big compliment that I called you. Take it as me doing some searchers and some some fillers to find guys that can make us money, And then if you just turn out to be another tard, I'll send you down the road. Oh, what? And they think that because you take stupid bumps, you really put it down. Oh, okay. You're Rob saying I think that guys think just because they went out and took a bunch of stupid bumps, they really put on a hell of a match, which is not a true statement. I could go out and just put on a bunch of stupid bumps, and if it didn't make sense to the crowd or it didn't tell a story, they'd go ooh and ah because I was beating the crap out of myself. But guess what? The next time I came out, I'd have to do even more stupid bumps and even bigger bumps to get them to ooh and ah more. That's how you end up not being able to walk by the time you're 40. It's a story. We'll get into that storytelling.
Yeah, Rob's taking us to a place. Man.
Yeah, man, you're trying to get a whole nother.
Yeah, we got
Rob,
two.
you
We got
need to
2
be,
minutes yet.
You need to be a special guest. We
You
ain't
do.
got 2 minutes, man. We're looking right now. We're coming up on a minute. So here's the thing.
Nah.
We're gonna give a shout out to the people that watched tonight. Appreciate you watching. We appreciate the comments.
Thank you.
This is just, if you will, what is that? That first episode.
Pilot.
Pilot.
Pilot
This is our
episode.
pilot. This is a start. Now, anyone that watched, you can give us ideas, notes, things to help us make the show better. And we're going to keep coming up with ways. Like I said, I really want to be able to talk to these guys. With the laptop right here, have it up. They should be able to call us. We should be able to talk.
Well, we'll get to that.
Man.
We'll get to that. Always improving. Technically, it's the motto of IZW. Always improving.
Always improving.
Getting better.
Bam! Out. Shooting range done.
Hey, man, you know, good shit,
Yeah.
right?
Hey, man. Get
Did
out
our
of here.
thing, man. We ain't booked shit yet.